first time I learned about sex, it was absolutely traumatizing.
Oh, wow.
I was a very small child. I was in kindergarten, first grade, and a young girl on the bus, I'm assuming she was sexually abused in retrospect. She told me that her father watched porn with her. So she was watching pornography with her father, and that's how she learned about sex. And then she described it to me. And ever since then, it's reminded me that this area does have problems talking about sexuality and health.
There's so much religion here that it's really hard for people to go past their beliefs into something that we need to know, especially in today's society. I mean, young girls are having sex, and the belief systems are preventing education.
The school systems do help a lot, and they are ready to offer a hand whenever it comes to contraceptives and prevention methods for pregnancies. They really do help in that manner.
You can't control what parents teach their children, but you can control what the school system teaches your children. And I really think that that should be something that's introduced into curriculum a lot more than what it is. I mean, they touch base on it, but they don't go into any kind of detail or any specifics. They just kind of tell you, okay, this is going to happen, but they don't tell you when or, how or anything like that.
In 8th grade, we had a PSI program that was hosted by high school students. That made it so much worse. These were people we idolized, people we knew we were going to become, talking to us about something you do not talk about. And it almost made us shy up more. It made us withdraw within ourselves.
With the school I went to, they did have one class, I believe it was called Postponing Sexual Involvement, which is exactly what it sounds like. Don't have sex, you'll get an STD and get pregnant. But it didn't tell you a whole lot about preventing pregnancy or the different forms of birth control that were available, especially if you are a teenager. Because it's hard for a lot of teenagers to go out and get something like the pill or, without parental involvement. So, yeah. And they told you, the biological things that were going to happen, but not in detail.
And then in high school, we did have a program in health, and a woman came in and talked about different forms of contraceptives. And it was extremely informational, and it was helpful, I feel, for the most part, but she didn't talk specifically about the issues facing gender. And men and women have such different gender issues when it comes to sex. It's totally polar opposite worlds. And she didn't talk about how feelings and emotions involved would come into play with that.
There just wasn't enough information being given to me. So, through the gift of the internet, I learned a lot more about different contraceptives and different options. And if I were to get pregnant, because obviously I was sexually active, so if I were to get pregnant, what were my options as far as that went?
At my particular college in general, a conservative Christian college, we do not talk about sexual health. It is not discussed. At the most, you'll see a small little pamphlet on self-breast examination in the bathroom. That's it. And a lot of that stems from the fact that boys and girls aren't allowed in each other's dorms at all because they might have sex. We can't have that happening. No hanky-panky going on. So the fact that we're ignoring that the college has genitalia whatsoever definitely hinders talking about it.
I became more educated on my own than anything else. So it's not something that I'm ashamed of or I, have a problem with. But a lot of other people do. Like, the older you get, the more diverse the people you meet. So a lot of people around here do still have problems with it. Like, it depends on what clique you're in as to whether they're comfortable with that sort of thing.
Girls, and especially women, should talk about their health. Girls feel more open, they're discovering new things, and especially from your teenage to 20s, You're free to talk about your health. But as you age, it becomes less frequent for women to discuss it. And I know that myself personally, I don't ever want to reach that point. I want to always feel comfortable with every aspect of myself, including my sexuality.